Ah, yes, drum nerds, drum nerdesses, welcome back. Wow, 2,103 to be exact. Coffee, good to go. Right, this is my first attempt on the VLC. Thank you all for suggesting that. I assume it stands for very less crappy. Like, subscribe, share the video, and I have a link in the description about buying me a coffee. I would appreciate that very much. That would be very muchly good appreciated. Thank you. See, you can rearrange the words and sentences, but that is the fund to try and get me to Japan for the 10,000 sub special to hopefully grab a cane and do an interview there. So, Mando Diao, Sheepdog. Haven't heard this in years. Love this band. I think in an interview they said Mando Diao means nothing. We are Mando Diao, therefore Mando Diao is us. In a sense, you know what I mean? Because they were saying like, why that name? But there you go. So hopefully this works and there's not a ticker underneath because I saw that on the VLC when I did a blooper. But here we go. Let's get into it. Hang a minute. That looks like the live setting of the section for Keen music video. I don't know if it's not Heart-Shaped Box, that's Nirvana, but it was something, but it was animated. I'm gonna look into this. Right, so like, again, I know this song, I haven't heard it in years, but you can see it brings a smile to my face, and that's what music's supposed to do, bring an emotion to your face, the listener. But I've always wanted to be in a band like this. This has always been a band it's just so, it's so rough, ready, well put together, just heavy and dirty and grungy. See, so we got stabs, but we got a really nice just just hitting all those quarters. It's just perfect. Quarters with, if I'm not mistaken, eighth notes on the top, yeah. So an eighth note on the hi-hat, holding quarters on the snare. It just pushes along. It's just beautiful. It's raw, rough, ready. See? We just know where you are. And you've got drum stabs on the vocals and on the guitar part, and it's just very catchy, good hook. On that ride. Great little, right? Oh, I don't know what you feel as a drummer, and I don't know how many views it's gonna get. It's irrelevant because I love this band, and so I'm kind of trying to now do stuff that is near and dear to me, as well as not saying that Bandmade isn't, but doing the Bandmade and the Love Bites and the things that are the popular, the requested, but I also want to throw in my bit here so that we can hopefully learn from each other, because I've learned a hell of a lot from you guys and gals about Bandmade and stuff, so that's where this is. But that shot on the snare drum, I was doing a gig once and I hit a rim shot to open the set, much like that just happened, and somebody got so scared they basically poured half their pint down their body. They got up in anger and left. That's one of my crowning achievements, is that nice rim shot. And for those who aren't aware, a rim shot is when the tip connects with the skin as well as the shaft of the stick hitting the actual rim. So you get this real big crack, a real big crack. It's a very distinct sound. But I don't know if this was. So that was a center hit. That was a center hit. You could hear it because it just sounded lower, and there wasn't a crack or a ping, but it's such fun.
take him on a sweet ride on Little Angels on number 9. The color TV won't shine on Desolation 1-5. They got it, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And I think, am I wrong in saying that's a 335? Is that a Gibson 335 if I got that right? With the Fender, the F-shaped cutout sound holes. I could be wrong. Please correct me politely in the comments. You know I'll come back at you any way you come at me, right? Let's understand that. But I think that is a Gibson 335. Hollow body, beautiful guitar, great tone. And that distortion on the vocal line. That was a wooden rim. No, sorry, it's not a wooden rim. It looked wooden with the sun shining on it. But what you've got there, I'm going to say, it looks like it very well could be a birch snare drum. That is, the top is, so that's interesting. Here we go. This is why this is Drum Nerd. So you can see the rack tom there. That is a triple flanged hoop on the, holding the heads on. And you can see, so this is a left-handed drummer because the snare drum is there and you can see the floor tom. Well, you can't. The floor tom's behind me, but take my word for it. This is a left-handed drummer, as you would have seen, and you might seen the ride is on his left. But on that snare that you can see, the bottom hoop for that reso head, where the snare wires are, that's a triple flanged hoop. But the rim on the top of his snare, on the batter, that is a die-cast hoop. That is a thicker hoop. As you can see, it molds around that lug, whereas underneath on that reso head rim, it's a triple flanged because you can see that it flares away and it has a flare to it, whereas the thickness and the density of that die-cast hoop is all kind of one piece in a sense, and it wraps quite well around that lug there. So this is pretty interesting for me, at least, because you don't often see, that I'm aware of, two separating style of rims on the same drum, right? So it's cool that he's got a die-cast hoop on the batter and a triple flanged on the reso head there. Very, very interesting. I want to say that's a birch snare drum. It looks like birch wood. I could be very, very wrong, and it could just be bog standard maple, but it has the look of a birch snare. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff there. Pretty interesting stuff. This is why we're drum nerds. Did you see his face? Gustav, I think it's Gustav. Gustav was like, oh my god. Look at him. He's like, oh my god, this guy's such a nerd about the drums. So that's how you can see that he was a left-handed drummer. What I would like to, oh no, it's not a good point. Maybe my box is covering it. Calm down. But I'm sorry if it's not. I'll try and get it so that it's not. Such a good band, so underrated and maybe undiscovered, at least in my neck of the woods. Okay, now we got two things to break down here. First of all, I wanted to say your man there's using a Premier drum kit. Very cool, English company, excellent drums, and if I'm not mistaken, Keith Moon used Premier at one point, or Premier, sorry. Trying to think who else was big on that kit, but they're great British-made, so English-made drums, and you don't see them often out in these kinds of circulations. It's kind of popular because they were big back in the day, and you see often now populations of the Ludwigs and the DWs and the Yamahas and the Tamas and the Pearls. Those are the kind of ones there. But this is interesting to see it. This is from mid-2000s. You've got a Premier kit there. That's beautiful to see. And I think that's even Premier hardware too, on the cymbals. But the other part that I'd like to point out, is the articulation and the clarity on that ride. It's very, very crisp and well delivered. Listen to the ping of that ride cymbal.
Now hear the bluebird whistle him slide. I would
It's so bright.
heal your wounds. Now hear the dark gun punching out there.
Now, there's 2 ways you could have that, well, maybe 3 ways that I'm aware of. There's probably more, but the big 3 that stand out to me and say, why is that sounding that way, would be he's got nylon tip sticks. Hopefully he doesn't, because then we might have to think slightly less of him. Could have a barrel / ball tip, which is wood, so that gives a lesser surface area, so it's more of a condensed level of contact. The third and possibly most unthought of reason is it could be a flat ride, meaning there's no bell to that ride. And they're very, very, very articulate, crisp, bright, pingy. They're delicious. A flat ride is a gorgeous, gorgeous thing to have. And I want to, and I've always wanted to have them, but that could be where you're getting this from. But we will have to see. Could be the other 2. One of the other 2. We got nerdy today, didn't we? That was an interesting fill. There was like a little stab and stop with that bass drum. Let's see if I can figure that out.
That I may love you.
Right here. Right there. That was good. It was almost like a snare kick. Yeah. Not able to get a good look on that ride. Ooh. Loving that overreach. That vocal overreach where it's kind of like, and then I've lost it, I'm a bit sharp, and there's that screech. That is what I love about this band, is that you've got 2 vocalists, him and the other guitarist there that did the solo. They have both very distinct voices, both very similar approach, yet very different approach in the sense of the tones that they use, but it's great when you can hear that. What you're hearing is basically he's giving it everything he's got, and that gives you that element of respect for the individual and for the band. Love it. Didn't happen. Oh, we've gone from the ride to the hats. See, at the end there, it fell apart, but in a controlled way. And your man there on the drums was hitting on that ride, and then he thought, oh, okay, we're just gonna go for it. And then they swapped over to those swashy, loose hats to close it out. I didn't get a good look on that ride. I don't know that you do get a good look on that. Oh, there's a. So there. Okay, I'm seeing it right now. You can't see it because it's behind me, but take my word for it. That is a Zildjian. It looks like what could just be a Zildjian Avidus or a Zildjian A Custom. I can't see the top side of it, but it has a bell. So it's definitely not a flat ride. I didn't get an inspection on the sticks, so it could be nylon tip or barrel / ball wood tip. But I'm going to close it there. That got intensely nerdy for everybody. So I hope everybody's well. Sorry for the nerdy rants, but I'm also not, because that's what this channel is all about. So be well, do something nice for somebody you don't know. Enjoy yourself, be safe, be well, and keep your stick on the ice. And if the women don't find you handsome, they'll at least find you handy. I hope I don't get sued by Red Green. Be well.